Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking to you about our new app, FocusNFlow. And my name is Brock, and my partner's name is Jay Patel.
Halo.
Okay, so we're gonna start off here with our UML class diagram. So our UML class diagram is very simple. It is basically all of the connection points between our different screens. So we have many different screens because on our last project, something that was noted for us was that we kind of put everything jumbled up into one big screen. And so now on this one, we wanted to really separate everything into its own specific part of the project. So you have the rooms, the timers, the group chats, the authentications, the study groups, the profile, all that fun stuff, all in your separate screens. So next here is our sequence diagram. Basically, it shows how to create a focus session, which is the main portion of our app. So it kind of takes on the forefront of what we wanted to present here because it is our main application basis. So obviously, the user will start the focus group, and the session will have all of its different titles, IDs, duration, stuff like that, and that will go to our session service, which is where the rooms are, and it can create the study rooms, and it'll link to the timers and all that stuff so that all the different users can actually see all these updates for the focus session. Then you can go down and see the different session passes for the connection points to Firebase and the timer, which is right there, and then the live updates between the two that connects through Firebase.
All right, so here's our first wireframe. So when you load the app, the first thing that the user will see is a login page where they enter their campus ID and their password and log into the app. And now here's our register page wireframe. So let's say the user doesn't have an account. This page allows them to enter their campus ID, their full name, and their school email, and they'll be able to register an account for our application. Next, we have, so whenever you use our app, you will be able to have multiple chats, and in those chats, you'll have multiple chats for different study groups. Here, you can see the list of different study groups a student might have. Boom, here is the page or the wireframe to create the said group as itself. You have the group name, the course code, and you can add a quick little description to describe why you're creating this group. Maybe it's for an exam or just a general class. The next wireframe we have is the chat box itself. Here you can see different people talking. You can create a message and talk to your teammates. The last wireframe we have here is the timer. Here you can set a session and a Perdomo's timer will be set on the screen. Your classmates can join the timer as well, and you can end it or leave it as well.
Okay, so on to our most important bits of code. So we have many, many files, as you will see when we show VS Code. It's about around 20 key files, but we wanted to focus on the main 8 to 10 files that really, shows what our app is as a whole. So starting off strong, we have our main file. So this file is obviously the entry point of our app. It connects our app to Firebase, and we use the Firebase options that Firebase gives us, and that is our main connection point between the database and our code. We also create the global for our theme, and we um, send what screen the user actually clicks on. This will send the import to that specific stream or screen, sorry. And it's really just the navigation hub, I guess you could say. That is what our main is. Next here we have our study room Dart. So the study room is our one of our key points in our app. We have the study rooms, the group sessions, the work groups, stuff like that. So this is just one of those things. And we created the study room group as a way to rent rooms, and it will show if it's available or not available. So this model is just like a really single-minded study room system. It stores the basic details of the room, which will show it to the user. And on top of that, as you can see here, it has the is available key. So it will show if it's available or not available, depending on if a user has already occupied the room or not. Next here, we have the study session dart. This model represents our study session for a group, either scheduled in the future or currently active. So back to what we were just talking about. If the study session is active, it will show if what group number it actually belongs to. So say it's belongs to Math 3600, it will show that as the group ID. It also will show which room it actually has the ID for, which is optional depending on if you choose to specify a room or not, and it also shows how long the timer will actually last for the actual study session. So you can see all that here with this static study session for the start time. And at the bottom, you can see all the entry points that you need for the actual study session to specialize it. And then we have our group chat screen. So when we actually hop on VS Code here, we'll actually talk about the group chat screen more and more in depth. But as an overview here, it is our main hub for the study groups, and it combines all the features that we want to use in it in one single place. So at the top, it shows all the group info, and it also includes the button, which is the Start Focus Group Now. And that will trigger the study session, which is all those imports you saw earlier to launch the timer screen and all the other connection points that the group chat actually has within it.
Here we have the timer screen dart. The timer screen handles like the user interface whenever you want to start a study session, and it takes all the data such as the group ID, the group name, the session ID, the start time, how long you want to have the study session for, and users will be able to see like a countdown timer for the current session. And whenever you use the study session, the timer, as time passes, users will be able to see how much time they have left in the focus block. And when the timer finishes or the user decides to end the session early, the screen calls our session service and it will update the session status in Firestore and free up any of the associated study rooms. So maybe if another student wants to use it. Next, we have our chat service. This service powers the real-time chat inside each study group. The function listens to the group messages collection in the Firestore for a specific group ID and returns a live list of messages sorted by timestamp. This function builds a message with the current user's ID and display, allowing users to talk one another in real time, and it'll save that data into Firestore. And this file keeps the entire chat log separate from the UI, which makes the code easier to manage and reuse in the future. Next, we have our session service. This file contains the main logic for creating and managing the study sessions in Firestore. We use the schedule session to create future sessions and give a start and time duration so users know when certain sessions will start and stop. We also have start session now, which creates the active session starting with the current time when which room is attached to that session as well. And yeah.
Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to talk about our app theme. So, as we said earlier in the main, we wanted to kind of link up with the Georgia State overall college theme of our app in general. So, we chose the dark blues and the whites, and we accented with the reds. So, we went off of the main Georgia State logo, not the fire, but the Georgia State, and we used all those colors to kind of make a whole theme for our app. And these are all customized in our app bar, which you can see on the right side, and these themes are across all of our buttons, our navigation bars. So it really feels like a a nice app. Next, we have our message bubble. So these are all of the messages that you can send in the group chat. These are the bubbles and what they should look like, what data has in them, what their design is, color scheme, all that fun stuff that you need for a cohesive messaging system. So the widget really controls the individual chat messages inside the group chat, and it visually separates the messages by the user. So one thing we wanted to have is that it shows the different colors that you would see on a normal messaging app. So if a message is sent from someone else, it will be gray, and if it's sent by you, it'll be blue. So you know how to differentiate between the two and can obviously tell who sent who what. This will also say the sender's name above the text and will show the timestamp of when they sent it. So overall, it is a polished chat experience. And finally, we have the room card. So this is our card for the room finder. It will show the key information of the room's name, building, floor, and seating capacity, which you can all see in the container to the right. It will show the in use and available in the starting of the widget, and the container will contain all the information within the widget for the button you will actually see, and that would be our available or in use, like we talked about earlier. And finally is our demo. So first, we have a little structure here. We're going to first talk about Firebase, and that was what we will introduce. And then we will move on to VS Code and kind of touch on all of our files and show you our file layout. And finally, we will demonstrate our app. So let me switch our page here. All right, so here is Firebase. So our Firestore is three different things. It's our Firebase is three different things. It's our Firestore database, it's our authentication here, and it's our messaging here. So first, we'll start with our Firestore database. So we have 5 different collections here. We have our group messages, which is all the messages within the separate groups. Let's click on this one, for example. So the sender test2 said, "Hey," on December 12th, 2025. And if we go down here, test one sent hello on December 12th, 2025 at 8 p.m. Then we can look at groups. So here are our different groups tab, which are our study groups. Um, this is all of the course information for the different groups. So we have like Math 1000, test for blank group session, and all the member IDs of the people that are actually within the group. So that's pretty cool. And then here are our sessions. So these are all of our different study sessions that have been, activated. So for example, right here, we have a completed 25-minute timer here for the Pomodoro technique. And here is still active. So this person is still studying within the technique. Finally, or not finally, but this is our study rooms, which we just touched on in the presentation. So these are our different rooms we have here so it has the building number, capacity, the floor, if it's available or not. So this room is actually taken by a user, but this room right here is not. This room is available, as you can see right here. And finally, the users. So these are all of our different users here. And this will register automatically when a new user registers their email and password with our app. So that main entry page to our application. Okay, Firebase out of the way. We will now talk about VS Code. All right. So here is VS Code as a whole. First, we will start with our main.dart here. Our main.dart we have already fully touched on in the PowerPoint, but this is the full file. You can see all of our imports up here, our main function, and the entirety in its entirety. Next is our Firebase option. So this is our example Firebase tool that was generated with Firebase Flutterfire. And here is our main application. So right here we have um, all the fun different screens here. So in our lib, we have models, screens, services, themes, widgets, Firebase options, and main. So for touching first here, we're going to start with models. So our models here are our main different app user, group messaging, study groups, study rooms, and study sessions. So this is just what we actually want for the different application. So for each different part of our app, we made a specific model for it rather than just having one jumbled file, and it gives it kind of uniqueness when you're scrolling through. Next, we're going to touch on our theme. So our theme is a major point, and the theme here we already really touched on, but it shows the different GSU colors here. This is our primary GSU blue as we listed there, and this is our main app theme for our app bar, and these are the themes for the buttons here. And next, we have screens. If you want to take that, Jay, we'll talk about login screen.
Yeah. So here you can see our login screen. It represents the form where users can sign in with their email and password. And here we have user inputs where it collects the user's email, their password. It calls the authentication service to validate their credentials with Firebase, and it handles the success or error on the states. And on successful login, it navigates the user to the authenticated part of the app. And here you can see our widget where it collects all the data using the children, like their password, their campus ID, or and login.
Perfect. And now is our register screen. So our register screen provides the registration interface for what Jay just talked about. And it's the other portion of the same coin for the login. So if you already have an account, you can log in and it will register based on that. Or you can register an account if you've never made one. So this provides the registration interface. Like I said, it also gathers the details of the person. So here's the register. It'll gather that campus ID. It'll gather that full name. It'll gather the school email and the password, and then a huge button that you can click to register. Okay, now we will move on to groups. So we have many groups here. But first we'll talk about the create group. So the create group is really what what creating a group. So we have the widget to create the group and all of its different controllers for the actual create. And if you want to, it will actually generate all the imported services from the group service to actually create the group in a whole. Okay. Next is the group chat.
Now here we have the group chat screen. So this is basically whenever you're trying to talk to your classmates about an exam, and it handles all the information like the user, their name, the title. It also has where the session is, so you can see at the top of the chat, which we'll show you later in the demo where it shows the minutes, the duration, and you can also cancel it. But yeah, it's the overall just the basic UI of the group chat screen.
Exactly. So just to kind of touch on what Jay already mentioned, this is our most complex group because it really is the main portion of our web app that we talked about earlier. It is everything that the user wants to see within the group chat. So this is every screen that, the group chat will see. So this is the whole screen as a whole. So it is a bunch of code because it shows all the active sessions. It starts the focus groups. It shows the group chat. It shows if you want to leave and join. It shows all the time IDs, the chats, the duration, joining timers, the scheduled sessions, the sessions. It shows everything. So this is like our main kind of like bread and butter of our application. This is, everything. Okay, so that group message and group list are both filling into the group chat screen that you just saw. So this is um, these three files are all helper files for our group chat screen, and make it actually a very cohesive portion of our application. So next is our profile screen. So the profile screen, um, well, it's a profile screen, and it will show, the user's information, the user's name, the user's um, different profile data, the how many groups, how many sessions they belong to right here. It will show if they're logged in or not. And if you want to, you can actually log out. There's a log out button, but this is the main profile. It shows all your information right there. And right here, we can actually see how it's centered. Sorry about that. And the different containers that actually has our profile in a whole. All right, and here is our rooms. So this is our room list screen.
Yeah, and here you can see whenever you see the app, it lists all the rooms that are currently available, if it's available or it's in use. And you can see in the code right there in the widget where it lists the study rooms, where you can search if a room is available or not as well.
Yep, exactly. Shows the seeds, shows the study rooms, all the search data, and that is the rooms tab. Next is our sessions, which is just our timer. This has all of our timer information. So it has the class that is actually the screen of the timer state. This is our ticks for the timer, so it shows when a second or a minute goes off. That's the UI for that. Then down here we have the duration, which is this. We have the widget for the timer, which is all of that information we just talked about in the group chat screen, which is the starting the session, the Pomodoro, all the different techniques, the actual time, the ending session, joining session, all that fun stuff. That's all here um, in the actual timer screen. So here is our app shell. Our app shell is our it's our navigation and what the actual app is kind of set to do. Um, it is like the main layout, I guess you could say, of the app. And once a user is authenticated, this will actually be the main scaffold the user will see. So this is kind of like the jumbled up intro information for the user. And then authentication gate is the decision point between if, the user is actually authenticated or not, if they actually have the credentials to enter the app, or if they do not, then they will not be able to actually enter the full application. And then the authentication shell is the other half of the app shell, and it's just the authentication portion of the main state of that. All right, so that's our screens out of the way. So now we will have our services. So this is all of our all of our different services that connect to the different screens. So this is kind of the more, back end like nitty-gritty of how our screens actually work. So, um, Jay, do you want to start us off with authentication service?
Yeah, so the authentication service Dart file, it wraps the entire Firebase authentication logic into like a simple service class. It provides the functions that it needs to register new users whenever they want to sign in with their email, password, or if you want to access the current user's ID and the display name. And it keeps this logic in one place in this file and the authentication code out of the UI and makes it much easier to change or extend later on if the user wants to change their data.
Exactly. Now we have the chat service, which is basically exactly what Jay's just said, but for our chat feature. So it is the main, um, I guess you could say, backend of the group chat feature. So it's actually what is connecting to Firestore for storing all those messages. So all of our services our service files within the service group or service folder are our connection points to Firebase within the different applications that we actually have. And it's just like that for all the rest. And so as you can see, all the services will connect to the main portion. So we have the group service, room service, session service, and they all do exactly what the other one does. It's just all the different connection points and what data we want from Firebase and how we want Firebase to store. So right here, this is all of our different rooms for the room service that we seeded into Firebase when we actually started the application. And with that out of the way, we can finally move on to our actual demo. Okay, here we go. So we will log out here. So this is what you will be greeted with when you are a new member or new user for the application here. So we have the main Georgia State University Focus and Flow. So first you would have to, try to log in. So let's say I don't have a user. Let's just try with, my student account here, my student password. That won't work, right? Because I don't have an account yet. So I'm going to click don't have an account. Let's register here. So I'm going to type in my campus ID. I'm going to type in my name here. I'm going to type in my school email. And I'm going to type in my password. Boom. Now I am part of Focus and Flow. So as you can see, I'm a brand new user. I have 0 groups and 0 sessions. So I'm going to move over to rooms. As you can see, 2 rooms or many more are in use. So I want to see if I can get an available room. So I'm going to click available here and it will show all the available rooms for me in order. So I think I want study room 202 here. So I'm going to click it. And now, because it's no longer available, if I scroll down to study room 202, it's now in use because I actually have the use for, you know, group study 115. And if I click it, I can make it available again. When I'm done with it, I can click it again and show that it's actually available for all the other users. And here, like someone else has this, I can't make this available because I'm not the user that specifically chose to rent StudyPod A. Now that I have a room, I'm going to look at the groups. So we have many different groups here. So say I need to lock in for the final exam of 1301. I'm going to click this and I'm going to click join up here. So there's no messages sent yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and say hey to everybody. So now that I'm the only member in this, I guess it won't really show that it's a group collaboration effort, but we're going to go ahead and show the timer here. So if you hit start focus now up here, this will bring up your timer, which is the Pomodoro timer, which is the main study session of the actual um, the app. If we back out here, you can see now that the timer is now joinable for all members of the group, and it will show when it started, how long it's going to be, and it will show that it's active for the final exam lock-in. If I hit join timer here, it will still be continuing down because it's like the timer's there no matter what. Unless I hit leave session or end session, that is the only way I can actually choose to get rid of that timer that's right there. And then if we hit schedule session, you can actually change the title of what you want it to be, show exactly, let's say lock in 2, we'll call it that. It will start in 10 minutes and be a duration of 50. So you can see lock in 2, it will be 50 minutes long and it will start at 7:53, which is exactly 10 minutes from where we are now. Let's go ahead and leave this group. Okay. Now we can go into a different group. Let's go into test 1 for an example. You can see the different messages that all people have left in this group chat. So we'll go to test 2. You can see multiple people talking, go to math test. Like here's an example. Hey, Jay, do you know the answer to question 1? Yeah, but I can't share with you because of academic honesty. So that's a little example of the group chats you can actually see as a user. So let's go to org exam here. Let's join this. Let's leave a what's up maybe. Let's leave a what's up. Let's go to start focus now. So we're going to start a timer for ourselves here. And now we're going to join on a different user and show what it looks like from a different user's perspective. So let's join as test 2 here, which is just one of our testing users. Okay, so let's join org exam for Henry. Let's join this as test 2. You can see my message, Brock Freiberger, what's up? Hey man, let's go ahead and send our message. Shows in blue, shows that it's a different user actually sending that message and will actually display you above it. But now, since Brock Freiberger just made a timer, we can actually join that from a separate account and see it's still counting down from where we left it. It never stops because another user is currently using this timer. And we can just hit leave if we don't want to be part of the session, because if we don't hit leave there and just hit the back arrow, it will actually be alerting us based on if the timer is still counting down. So if we just hit back here and we're still a part of the session, we are still going to stay a part of this session until the timer actually runs out or the initial user cancels that. And finally, we can go back to test 2 and it will actually show all the groups that you've joined to show how many groups you're a part of. And it will show all the different sessions that you actually have either created or joined. And yeah, that is Focus and Flow. And we hope you enjoyed our application. Thank you for watching.